Hello and welcome back to the IO Sportscast. With me, as always, I've got Ollie. Say hello.
Hi guys.
And today we've got a special guest. Matt, you've come back.
Yes, I'm still special. I love that. Hello, everybody.
It's been a wonderful weekend. The Austrian Grand Prix is what we're here to talk about. Um, First off, though, Ollie, happy birthday for tomorrow.
Cheers.
Oh,
Um,
yes, Ollie. Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
I would
Thank you.
burst into song, but this is going on the internet, so Um, now we're here. We're here for the Austrian Grand Prix, not for your birthday, Ollie. Um, actually, much better this weekend than the steering weekend last time out. I think we'll
Yeah,
all agree.
Absolutely.
Um,
100%.
so we normally start with our race ratings: best driver, worst driver. Um, I'm going to give this like a 9. Apart from like some major crashing, I think it had pretty much everything. It had strategy, it had drama, some fantastic overtakes and attempts at overtakes. Um, 9 for me.
Oh, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. As you say, obviously we had a safety car, but they didn't last very long, which was exciting. But as it was at the start of the race, I'd like that to have been at the middle or near the end or something. But yeah, as you said, there's quite a lot of good overtakes and quite a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing and close battles, which is what we like to see.
Mm.
Okay. Not as generous as you guys. I'll give it a 7.5. I did really enjoy it, but just because there wasn't a battle for first, I can't give it higher than 7.5.
That's fine. That's
Yeah, it was
fair enough.
definitely
That.
missing that. Um, Best driver, worst driver. Um, I've not actually had a think about this because, I mean, Verstappen has been flawless all weekend, but he was also that last weekend. I don't just want to give him it for back-to-back weekends. But I think I might have to. Yeah, Max Verstappen, 10 out of 10, job done.
Excellent. Well, just before Ollie takes Lando Norris, I'll jump in and say that he's my best driver for sure. An unbelievable performance in
It
qualifying
was, it really
yesterday,
was.
and to finish on the podium today. And like it could have been second, that wasn't a guarantee. But I don't think there was anything wrong with his move. I'm sure we'll talk about that. I
Yeah.
think he drove absolutely brilliantly. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Lando. Matt was right. Yeah, Lando's unreal this weekend, as always. Yeah, started second and then obviously I finished third, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Yeah, finished third and held off Hamilton for quite a while, which was pretty impressive to be honest. And then he
Mm.
came back at Hamilton and nearly came back at Bottas at the end. So yeah, I would give Lando a 9.
Solid. Matt, did you give Lando a rating?
I didn't, but yeah, no, nine is spot on for sure.
Nice. Worst driver, I mean, Checo. That's probably going to be mine.
Yeah,
Um, just very sloppy performance from Checo, really. I'm trying to very quickly run through the list of other drivers to see if there's anyone else I could give it to. Sonoda had a couple of very rookie mistakes, which I'm sure we'll cover. But I mean, I think I'm going to give it to Checo. Uh, I'll give him a 5.
oof. I've got to agree with you, Isaac. 100%. Just says
I'll
he
go
is.
for Sonoda as you mentioned already. I think just because he did the same mistake twice, that's so poor.
Mm,
Even for a rookie
yeah.
to do it, and it's not even like a mistake that's particularly like it's a very. I feel like it's a hard mistake to make. So to do it twice is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Ratings from you guys for worst driver?
Checo for me 5.
I'm gonna give Sonoda a 4.
Nice. We do also normally do predictions, but for two reasons we're not going to do them. One is I've not gone back and looked them up, and two, from what I can remember, they're completely wrong anyways. Um,
Yeah,
I think we got Verstappen to win correct, but
yeah, I think we did.
neither of
Yeah,
us had Norris being up there. Neither of us had really Bottas being up there.
yeah.
So
How about an update on the pre-season predictions or the predictions after the first race. How are we doing on those? Can you even remember what you went for?
No.
I remember that both of you went for Hamilton to win the championship. How?
Yes.
Do you want to change your mind on that? Do you? Really?
No. Yeah, I still think he's gonna. Yeah.
Right now,
Just takes a few crashes or Mazepin to take Verstappen out a few times.
That's not gonna happen.
No, but the Red Bulls, I would say, historically don't have as good a reliability as Mercedes, and in the second half, Mercedes can just check out. I think there's a few tracks that Mercedes have still got to them. If Verstappen wins in Britain, like as convincingly as he has done the last couple of weeks, then that's a little bit of a worry.
Yeah.
I mean, if his tyre hadn't exploded in Baku, that this would be 5 races in a row he's won. You know, all sorts of different tracks. That Red Bull looks rapid.
It is a very quick package they've got.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a good package that they've got.
But you know what Mercedes is like. They're not bringing updates, and they are bringing a couple of minor updates. I mean, who knows? This could be one massive upgrade package to bring out of nowhere.
True. I mean, it'd be interesting if they do upgrade. But just to confirm, you two are still backing Lewis Hamilton for the championship
right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. At this present moment.
I'm definitely sticking with Max. You know, I had him before all this had happened, so it'd be stupid to change my mind now. So.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. Right, Austria. Well, lap 1, I thought everybody had got off to a fairly decent start. Russell got swamped a little bit at turn 3, I think it was, and then had a poor exit out. And until that point, everyone had got through fine. And then Ocon got sandwiched and had his front right suspension snapped by Giovinazzi. Nothing really could be done, I don't think, about that. It's three wide into a corner that only takes 2 doesn't really fit, does it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nah, he was the meat in the sandwich, and he got a bite taken out of him. What can you do?
Yep, and then the safety car came up for like 2 laps, and then.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the safety car? I was thinking, why not a VSC?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't in a dangerous spot or anything, but they don't seem to like to do the VSC anymore.
A little bit too much for that, really. It's like not loads of debris or anything either.
It's just where it was placed, I think, wasn't it?
Hadn't he managed to drive it forward to a marshal post though?
Yeah, he was literally next to a marshal's point on a straight, not even into a braking zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
sure. I think it's because it was so close at the start of the race, maybe.
Martin Brundle made an interesting comment a few races ago and saying with the new sponsorships on the safety cars, we're going to be seeing him a lot more this year. And so far, he's definitely been correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, for that reason, I don't mind seeing the safety car, but it did seem a little bit silly this time round. Like, from a racing point of view, at least.
Yeah, because it's not the pack didn't need to be bunched together. They were already
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on the restart of the safety car that Giovinazzi did bring out, he then pitted under and then got done for overtaking before the safety car line and was given a 5-second penalty. I feel like that's a fairly rookie mistake as well to make.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the type of thing I do in the game.
Yeah.
Confirmed rookie mistake.
Exactly.
Ricciardo had a lightning start. What did he start? P13, I think he started. And he was up into the points within a few laps. He's definitely got race pace in that car.
Yeah, he showed that today, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's just Saturday that he's lacking in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that is an improvement, isn't it? He's improved his Sunday, but he really needs to get his Saturday sorted.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think once he gets that sorted, it'll be all right.
I mean, that McLaren looks pretty good this season. If they can have Daniel and Lando both firing, that's dangerous. They've got to be P3 in the championship if that does happen.
I don't know. I don't feel good about Daniel Ricciardo now. I'm not sure he is going to be able to. I don't know.
Well, they definitely need it because Ferrari behind are firing with both cars. So they definitely can't do it on Lando's alone.
No, no, really good driver pairing they've got at Ferrari at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. Just
Um,
Not Lando. Daniel needs to just match what Lando's doing, and then yeah,
well, after Ricardo's good start, Lewis and Lando had actually created a bit of a gap at the front. Obviously, Max was miles ahead. The battle for second and third, they sort of dragged away from Bottas. I I don't know whether that was a pace thing or if that was Bottas saying let's just not get involved and hang back for a few seconds. Um, just to not take so much out of his tyres and talk about going long maybe.
I think so, because he said to his engineer, didn't he, that we're sticking to plan A and that's why I'm holding back. I'm assuming plan A had something to do with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
But arguably, they wouldn't be in that position had Perez decided to pull out of turn 4 and actually stay in the race for the front. Now, I think at least me and Matt definitely agreed, as you already said at the start of this, that you don't really think it was a penalty. It was a little bit harsh. Racing
No.
incident.
Yeah, Lando was obviously Perez got slightly ahead going into the corner, but by the time they were at the apex of the turn, they were even, and then Lando edged ahead through the corner. So I think it was his line to take, and Perez needed to get out of it because it was obvious he was going to end up in the gravel if he tried to stick on the outside. I was really surprised by the penalty, to be honest.
I don't think it should have been a penalty.
Good to know.
Just straight up, should have been a penalty.
Yeah, for me it was just do a wheel to wheel, want them do in line with each other. So yeah, and
Yeah,
it is risky going around the outside of turn 4 or whatever, turn 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So,
and Lando didn't move like in an outrageous way to the outside. He took the normal line.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think back to Hamilton and Albon last year, because
I think Albon was further ahead.
Yeah, and also felt like Lewis did sort of open the steering up a lot more than Lando did.
Yeah, he kind of tapped Albon's back wheel, didn't he?
Yeah. But a penalty was given. I mean, if that's the way that things are going to be, then fair enough. But you've got to stick with it, and at the very least, the stewards were very consistent with penalties today. Perez got done twice later on in the race because of the exact same thing. One at turn 4, one at turn 6, and I mean you've got to really feel like Charles Leclerc. If that had not been a penalty, you'd feel very hard done by, because Perez's one at turn 4 was absolutely a penalty.
Oh yeah, I think that one was more of a penalty than Norris's when he first one on Leclerc, Perez on Leclerc.
Yeah.
I agree.
That was more of a penalty than Lando's move on Perez. But yeah, Perez was just, I don't know why, it was just penalties galore today, all over the place. Everyone was getting penalties.
I thought Perez's first one was a penalty. Leclerc was ahead, so he kind of was owed the space. I thought the second one was a bit outrageous. Like, I really don't think you're going to... Although, to be fair, I think Alonso did make it stick around the outside of turn 5, didn't he? But it's a very risky move. I don't think you can go around the outside there and just assume you're going to get the space. I think that one was a bit much, but they were just following the precedent they'd already set at the start of the race, I guess.
Yeah, I'd also say that context in that second one does matter, in the sense that Perez does know that Leclerc's going for that move. Like, they're battling for quite a while at that point. It's not like it's his first attempt to try and overtake him.
I'm just worried that if they keep following this, that you could just stick it out around the outside, and then the person on the inside either has to give up the place or is going to get a penalty, and that seems a bit unfair.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would be very interesting if we could see what happens at the driver meeting next time out. I'm sure that's going to get discussed quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Christian Horner even said, during the race and after the race, he said again that he thinks it's a racing incident and thinks it's a bit silly. So,
yeah. Well, while all that was going on for the first time round for the Norris Perez investigation, the Alpha Tauris both pitted, went on to two stop strategies, and actually it would have worked had Tsunoda managed to keep it in the white line. Just I don't understand how you can make that mistake, because that's not like a Austria specific to the race rule. That's every track that we go to at every session. You know, if you're going to move to the pitch, you can't then cross the line back out. Admittedly, Austria Turn 9 is probably the most difficult, but there's a reason why the pit line goes all the way over to the left side of the track.
And plus, as well, that part of the pit lane is on the racing line, isn't it, as well? So you've got to be careful when you're going around Turn 9, 10.
I mean,
turn 8 or whatever
yeah, it is,
turn
but
9.
That's why the pit line comes out so far back down the straight, is so you know that you need to be moving to the right to stay in it. Whereas it looked like he was sort of going on the racing line like a little bit too much. I.e., he was thinking he would probably be able to hold it as a
I'll
faster
save
turn.
time a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Tsunoda? I haven't been hugely impressed so far.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, so am I.
He's got so much potential, and he's shown in previous series that he is very quick. But and he's come through the ranks. I think he's only had a season in F3 and then a season in F2. So he's definitely shown that he's quick, but maybe that was a little step too far. It's I don't know. I'm just trying to think, if this was Alex Albon or Daniel Kvyat, they'd have already had words in their ear from the guys at AlphaTauri and Red Bull.
Yeah.
I don't know whether his links to Honda have anything to do with why there's no talk of him, you know. I'm not going to say he's going to get dropped, but he's definitely, if he can't keep this up all season and expect to drive next year.
I'm not a huge fan of his attitude. I feel like obviously he's a rookie, so he's coming up against a difficult teammate in Gasly. I just feel like he gets so angry and shouts at his engineer and blames other things. I'm just like, just admit that you're a rookie and you're learning, and try and make the most of the situations rather than blaming other things and throwing your toys out the pram.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like that's definitely something that will come over time. I mean, you look back to Max. Max wasn't the most mature driver when he first came into Formula 1. Admittedly, he was an awful lot younger.
And faster, though, as well.
That's the other thing. He was also getting results. So,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You could overlook it a little bit. Lap 20. 20 laps that Lando managed to hold Hamilton off, which is ridiculous. I think we all thought within the first 5 laps that'd be it. He's back through the pack and immediately going to be fighting for P5, but he did a fantastic job holding on to P2. It's just a shame that as soon as he got past, he got the penalty. So a little combo there.
Yeah.
Well summed.
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking through what you were saying, and I think
I'm saying 20 laps was a long time for Lando to hold Lewis off.
Yeah, I think what was really key was him qualifying on the medium tyres on Q2, whereas last race he was on the softer compound and his tyres went quite quickly, and then he got absolutely done by the Mercedes and Red Bulls, whereas he did have a bit more of a fighting chance this time, and he did really well to hold Lewis up for 20 laps.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's down to track temperature. It's a lot cooler this weekend than it was last weekend, and the tyres are softer, so actually it's the same compound he was racing on. So last week's softs are this week's mediums.
Yeah.
So I think it's down just really
to
track temperature and tyre temperatures now. Because they were nowhere near as degrading as they were last week.
It wasn't as hot as, I think they said, it wasn't as hot as last week.
So
I think
it was like 15
track
degrees.
35. Yeah, it was 35 degrees track and 21 air.
Yeah.
So.
But either way, you'd expect Lewis to have got past much quicker. Lewis did say that Lando's a bit of a good driver.
Yeah,
That
it
was
did
so
go off.
random. What was that about?
Lando to Mercedes confirmed.
Yeah.
Question mark?
I love it, but like I feel like Lewis is the last person I'd expect to like say something like that in the middle of the race.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a weird time to say it as well. Like, not when he's stuck behind. Oh, I mean, we don't actually know when he said it because of the delay on the
Said
Right,
it before the
signals
start,
thing.
before the green lights bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Said it on the formation lap.
if we assume he said it as he got past him, that's a strange time to say it, I think.
Yeah,
I
he
don't know.
obviously really rates him. Fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, we've got a lot of British talent, both in F1 and coming up through in F2. This is looking good for when Lewis does decide it's time. I'm
Whatever that
excited.
is, because he just signed a new 2-year deal on it. So.
He has. Yeah, we're gonna talk about silly season at the end. It's all starting to kick off. What are we going? What's the next bit of action?
Must be.
Perez tried the undercut on Leclerc and Ricciardo after getting his penalty and dropping. He dropped down to P11, I think, with the incident in the gravel. And it sort of worked. It worked on Leclerc. Didn't quite work on the McLaren. It's just very strange seeing Perez fighting with the Ferraris. I don't know. It just doesn't compute in my head that they're in that sort of battle together.
No, I think that with Austria having so many DRS zones, it makes it really difficult for the quicker cars to get ahead because the cars behind just can stick with them. And Leclerc's so aggressive. That move he did before Perez's pit stop was really nice.
There was a lot of good moves from Leclerc's just this weekend has been pretty good. Like all of the, at least apart from the turn 6 attempt was a little bit out there. The rest of them were all pretty smooth. He had a lot of pretty decent cutbacks at turn 4 that he was trying as well. It feels like he's definitely set with that car, which at the start of the season we were questioning like what sort of packages a Ferrari actually got and whether or not like Leclerc and Sainz would be able to handle it. But I mean, this weekend it seems to have worked.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I don't know why what it was, but this race I felt like there was a lot more buster racing than last week, and especially going into turn 4. That's where turn 4 and 5 were mainly where most of the overtakes were, and it's just late braking. And obviously, I know it's the end of a DRS zone, but that last DRS zone, because you've got 3, and you've got start finish up to turn 3, and then from 3 to 4. I think that one's the most powerful one in terms of time you can gain on the cars. Because if you get a good exit out of turn 3, then you're more likely going to be able to catch them with DRS by the time you get to turn 4.
Yeah, getting traction out of turn 3 is key. But
yeah,
lots of overtake chances at turn 4, especially this weekend. Hamilton had some rear issues. I think they were saying that he lost some of the little winglets at the back of his car from going over one of the curbs at turn 10, something like that.
Turn 10, yeah.
Now, was it last year or the year before that Mercedes were being told to keep both cars off because of issues with
damage was critical or whatever
on the gearbox? Yeah,
I think it was start of last year when there was at first Austria.
Yeah.
I think it was at the start of last year.
More of a general question: do we think we need to look at the curbs? If the curbs are getting to the point where they're actually starting to break the car, is that too much, or is that absolutely bang right because they shouldn't be on the curbs?
It depends if it's the part of the curb where they're too wide and they're over the racing line, or whether it's the part of the curb where they're allowed to be. I thought what they did in Paul Ricard was a bit much, where I don't know what turn it was, but they had the sausage curbs facing the 90 degrees to where they normally face in.
The exit of turn 2, I think it was, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. So I think that's too far because it's just unnecessary damage.
Yeah. But we're okay with 9 and 10 being pretty violent.
If it was only affecting one driver, then potentially he just went wide too much. I don't know.
Yeah, and plus it doesn't look like there's any big, like, I know turn one's got that big yellow curb on it as you're going round on the outside of turn one. Turn 9 and 10 don't look like to have that, so I don't know how he's caused it. Unless it's like near where his floor, obviously where the rake is on the car. I don't know.
I think it's the exit of turn 10 when they all sort of run out onto that curb.
I think the vibrations as well. It doesn't necessarily have to touch, but if it gets shaken up so much that that frequently, it can cause damage too. So
yeah, I feel like something does need to be done sort of between 9 and 10, because the amount of times that they're starting to push over that line, like they were on it with track limits today, but they definitely were starting to push that like outside curb between 9 and 10. I feel that if you just put a gravel trap there, that solves so many issues.
Yeah, I'd be down for
that. Yeah. It's them two predominantly in it, because when you look at the onboards and they go over them curves, you just see the vibrations from the car and from the onboard cameras, don't you? And it is pretty violent there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lando ended up complaining about his brake pedal going loose at turn 1. I don't know if that's just because of the way that turn 1 is, or if that was a curb related thing, but Max also had the same issue at turn 1 last week.
I think it might have been a curb related issue, I think.
And Austria is just one of those tracks that's so fast and so like,
yeah, I know.
You want to push it as much as you can for that perfect racing line, that you're gonna constantly be running over the curbs. I mean, these cars are not built for that track. Like, that track's decades old and it was designed for much slower cars.
That's good, because you don't have those stupid runoffs that go on forever. There's actually consequences to going wide. I'd say generally keep the curbs, because F1 drivers will take liberties. If not, they'll push it as wide as they possibly can. So at least it gives them incentive to try and stick it between the white lines, which I think is good.
Yeah, without being as extreme as putting walls up around the track perimeter.
Yeah. Not every track needs to be Monaco or Baku for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Or Paul Ricard with like 5 mile runoffs.
No, yeah, I don't like that at all.
So awful. So the end of the 40s, early 50s, there was a little bit of contradicting information between the Mercedes. Initially, I was hearing that Bottas couldn't overtake Lewis, and then Norris was getting a little bit close, so they let them race. I don't really think we could call what happened a race between the two Mercedes. Lewis was just very slow at that point.
No, it was the right decision.
Yeah, exactly. He was losing time when and plus he had damage as well. So
how hilarious would it have been if Lewis was like, "Nah, this is for earlier in the season," and Bottas back knowing full well he's got a contract.
Nah, I don't think he could have held Bottas behind, to be honest.
Nah.
I mean,
I would have liked to see Bottas disobey the I don't know if it's like 1 or 2 laps he'd been told to wait. I would have loved him steaming down into like turn 1 or turn 3, middle finger in the air.
Hashtag traditions.
Yeah.
In fair play to Bottas, I feel like I know we're going to talk about this, but I feel like he knows that he's not in that seat. From my perspective, I think he knows he's not in that seat. So for him to follow the team order, it's fair play to him.
Yeah. We're going to come on to the season, but I think his recent performances are linked to certain contracts being potentially announced.
Yeah.
What else happened? Tsunoda made a second pit stop and made the same mistake.
Yeah, no, it's mental, isn't it? You make it once, it's just like you should realise, like, I won't do it. Or you'll drive slower as you're coming round that corner, as you're coming round turn 9.
Yeah.
Into the pits.
And again, to make it in a race where, one, there isn't really actually anything much on the line, you can afford to take that extra half a second. And two, in a race where you've already done it before, but it's a simple rule that happens at every session, so I just don't understand. But I think we've covered that enough. Stroll made a pit stop and decided not to slow down for the pit lane. I don't actually remember seeing a replay of it, which I'm
No, I don't think we did.
kind of glad for, because
Yeah.
every time Stroll's name pops up, I get flashbacks to Monaco.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, 5 second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It was about this time where Leclerc and Ricciardo were getting a little bit feisty, and Leclerc almost ran into the back of him at
Quite a
turn
few
4.
times. Quite a few times he did that, didn't he?
Is it like an intimidation technique, or is it just like overcooking it?
I think a bit of both. I think it's because it wasn't like he locked up to avoid, so I don't think he was like out of control. I think he was definitely using a different line just to be filling up the mirrors and be like, I'm here. And should Ricardo get a little bit squirmy on the exit, then there's I guess a further chance. But it's not like he was doing like a major cutback. It was the right side of Ricardo's car that almost got hit.
He was going straight into the back of him, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't know, a little bit strange.
I get maybe just
Yeah.
got caught in the slipstream, bit of overspeed.
Yeah.
I think he's probably like tried to outbrake the guy who's notoriously good at late braking.
Yeah.
And I thought at one point they were going to come together.
Yeah. The one that was really close.
Yeah, I was very worried for the front wing and for a puncture. But they made it. They made it through. Verstappen decided to come in for a second pit stop, about 10 laps from the end. I don't quite understand why they did that, unless there must have been like a really bad cut on his tyres. They did say there was a little cut.
Yeah, I think safety more than the fastest lap.
Yeah. I mean, especially that he went on to the harder tyres rather than a soft tyre.
And the engineer did say that there was a cut in one of his tyres, I think.
Yeah, his rear right, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't hear anything from Max before that, though, about saying that there was an issue with his tyres.
He wouldn't know, though, would he, if there's a cut in the tyre?
No, I wouldn't know.
I have no idea. I'm not an F1 driver.
I'd be very surprised if he can tell if there's a cut in the tyre.
Yeah, plus if it's a tiny cut as well, you won't be able to tell, would you? When you
Yeah.
For me, every time Max's radio comes on, I always think it's Christian Horner speaking to him, because his engineer sounds so much like Christian Horner. But it's not, is it?
What's his name? I can't remember what his name is.
GP.
I don't know. But it sounds a lot like Christian Horner, in my opinion. I'm like, why is Christian Horner being Max's engineer? But he's not. It's his engineer.
Ollie hears like a southern English accent. It just has to be the same person.
Like Christian Horner.
Yeah, I'm actually Christian Horner. That's good.
Russell and Alonso.
Oh,
What fantastic battling that was for about 5 or 6 laps.
For me, I think that was the best battle on track.
Yeah, and they kept switching between the little post box view and the main view, didn't they? That was quite funny.
Yeah. I was trying my hardest to watch the picture-in-picture. I just couldn't see anything.
Yeah. I just kept looking at the splits when it wasn't thinking. I was like, it was going down to like 0.2 and then 0.1 and then it was going back up to 0.4 and I was like, oh come on! I was just begging for Russell to hold on.
Yeah, I thought Russell had it in the bag with about 15 laps left to go because the gap was fairly decent. But then Alonso just kept eating into it. So it's just some really good attempts at overtakes, and then, I mean, wonderful attempted move out wide at turn 6 with Alonso.
And it's exactly what he touched on earlier. He got the really good exit out of turn 3.
Yeah.
And once he was in the slipstream, it felt like a done move already.
Yeah, and you could see Alonso taking lots of different lines each lap to try and figure out what the right one is. There was at the start of the steering weekend, Alonso and Russell did a piece for Sky, talking specifically about their laps round and turn 3, and Alonso was just like, I just take the line that's the fastest rather than a same one over and over. It's very interesting to actually see that in practice as they were racing together. Yeah.
He's brilliant, Alonso. I don't know if he's as fast as he used to be, but in terms of overtaking prowess and calculated, he's
Definitely
still
knows,
got it for sure.
he knows where to put the car at what point.
He starts building his overtakes like several corners in advance. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And has the wherewithal to pull out of overtakes when they're going wrong, unlike other drivers that we saw this weekend.
Yeah, because he tried to go around the outside a couple of times and decided not to stick it out. So I think that's what he should do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but Russell's getting the best out of that Williams. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's how he's got it set up. But compared to Latifi,
I think it's experience and confidence. Like, it's this 3 years now he's had that for that Williams. So he knows the car really well. He's had some fantastic performances in it, and it's really down to minor mistakes that he's made at the pressure points that's cost him having multiple race finishes in the points. But this season in particular, he's just been on it.
I think the car must be a little bit more drivable this year. He seems more comfortable with it.
Yeah, it does seem a bit strange that gap to Latifi is still as big as it is, though. You'd think at least Latifi would be comfortable in front of the Hasses, which has not always been the case.
I think we've seen a lot this year how crucial driver is. You've got Max obviously doing an unbelievable job at Red Bull. We've seen historically the gap between Lewis and his teammates, and now Lando Norris and Ricciardo, and then also you've got George Russell and Latifi. A lot of people say, it's just down to the car, and it is to a certain extent. But I think we've really seen this season the amount of impact a driver can make and get the most out of a car.
No, absolutely. Unfortunately, we have to finish this segment by saying that Alonso did get past Russell.
Oh, I was devastated, man.
Yeah.
He was in 10th. He was in that point for so long.
It was just.
He nearly got caught by Raikkonen as well, didn't
he? Yeah. Follows very nicely on to the fact that on the last lap we had Sainz and Ricciardo going at each other for P6, and Sainz winning that battle, which is huge in terms of the constructors between McLaren and Ferrari, given that Lando was finishing on the podium. Ferrari really did need every single point. But then randomly, as Max is coming around the turn 8, turn 9, I see yellow flags in sector 2, and then Raikkonen and Vettel just dropping through the standings. I was like, what has happened? Has there been a crash? Is this just one of those timing errors that's happened, but because of a yellow flag that's come out, or?
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, is it not going to show us the replay?
Yeah, it took a long time.
Why does the yellow flag in sector 2? And then it was after they were trying to fight with Russell, weren't they? And Kimi was on the outside, Vettel was in the inside trying to overtake him, and then
Vettel
Kimi hit his rear wheel and just crashed into each other.
I think Vettel fully pretty much got past him. I think Kimi at that point needed to concede the place, but decided to drive into him for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. Kimi's got two options there: turn left onto the gravel or brake. There isn't really.
I think there was enough space for him to just stay on the outside. Stay left. He didn't need to come across. But
I don't know if Vettel just saw a chance for a couple of overtakes, or I don't know if he thought that Russell had stayed in the points and it was for the last position.
You're always going to go for it, whether or not it's for the points anyway, I guess.
Yeah, but I was just trying to look at where his car was angled. I don't know whether he was going to go for the Russell move later on at turn 7. I mean, I've only seen the replay once, but I would expect Vettel to have been further over had he gone for a normal line through 6, the left-hander.
Well, I think because he went for the move, he was over on the right side of the track, and he just stayed on the right side. So I don't know what he would have done next, but he kind of stayed up on the same line the whole way through.
Yeah. I don't know whether that was because of where Raikkonen was or where...
Yeah, I think it was just to try and stay out the way of Raikkonen, but unfortunately Raikkonen decided to come across.
But it made for an interesting ending, I guess, for those who are not Max Verstappen fans.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
it was Max's day. He's done
Yeah,
fastest
lights
lap,
the
the
flag.
win.
It was a lights. Yeah, and pole position as
Yeah,
well.
that's the thing. Did he get every lap?
He did, yeah.
So he got the full
Every
Grand
lap.
Slam.
Yes, his first one
First
apparently.
one, nice. Yeah, I wasn't
First
sure
Grand
whether
Slam, yeah.
around the pit stops he lost a lap or not, but
No. I think he was a lights the flag all the way.
well done, Max. Then, because that is, I mean, that's very difficult to do. So fair play.
Yeah.
Bottas P2, Norris P3. Wouldn't have really expected either of those, given coming into this race. Norris does like this track though.
Yeah, it does.
I just wouldn't
He
have
does.
put him up
It
there.
does indeed.
Um,
I reckon a few extra laps and Norris should have had Bottas.
yeah,
I don't.
literally.
I don't think he would have got past, to be honest.
I think he got
but
very close. I
think
think
he might have been able to hold him up had he not had the penalty. That would have been much more interesting because I think Bottas had a slightly more race pace in the Mercedes, but
yeah, I think Lando definitely had the defence nailed down. Just I don't think he had the pace for overtaking.
I don't think he got into DRS, did he?
Don't think
I
so.
don't think so. No.
I think it was like 1.2 was across the line or something.
Yeah, it felt like he couldn't get it below that 1 second, which he needed to.
Hamilton P4. I mean, once he lost the pace with the rear issues, then he was pretty much confined to P4. Sainz P5 with Perez's 10-second penalty, which is a very nice chunk of points for the Ferrari. I actually don't know exactly where Perez finished in the end.
I think he just dropped the one place.
Was it just the one? Okay.
I think so. A really good drive by Sainz though, coming back to him, because didn't he out-qualify Leclerc as well?
Now you're testing my memory of.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'll put myself out there and say I think he did, which is a great achievement.
Yeah.
And then to beat him in the race as well.
Yeah.
Very solid performance.
Definitely had the race pace over Leclerc. And good call from Ferrari to actually switch the drivers without like any sort of like chaos or anything like that, which we've not always seen in Ferrari swaps.
Yeah. Ferrari doing all right this year, compared to the disaster that they had last year.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really see Ferrari going further backwards, could you?
No, but I didn't think they'd be like up where they are. If you know what I mean, I thought they'd be like mid-table battling for like the last points. If you get what I mean, I didn't think they'd be like consistently in the points pretty much every race weekend.
I think they could be further back if they didn't have two really good drivers that are getting the most out of the car. Because the midfield is so tight this year. I think the drivers are having a bigger influence on finishing positions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to come out on top between Sainz and Leclerc?
I think it would be very difficult for Sainz to beat Leclerc over a season, especially in his first season at Ferrari. So I'd definitely back Leclerc for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having said that,
I think it'll be close, but I think he'll just beat him by like a point or two or something like that, depending on obviously.
Isn't he already? The gap's fairly big already, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be
be.
down to like a point or two, but I think it'll be a lot closer than people have actually expected. Like Sainz has just shown that he is a really good driver. There's like a lot coming into this season, being like he's definitely going to be second driver. You know, he's only there as a seat filler for Schumacher, but he's shown that he can drive.
And I take it back. Charles Leclerc is only 2 points ahead of Carlos Sainz. I think because of the whole Monaco thing, he lost a lot of points where he could have potentially won the race. But yeah, very close actually.
Yeah, I can't see it staying that way though. Actually, I think something will give.
I guess there's not that much difference in points. You know, if you finish out the top five, like the points difference is so small.
Yeah. Good point. I'm just looking down the table at the minute, and Perez and Lando are very close.
Who's third?
Perez,
In the standings.
I think.
By 3 points.
Yeah, trusting that this table is correct.
Yeah, that's what I've got as well.
3 points in it, and then Valtteri Bottas fifth, 9 points behind Lando.
What's the gap between Max and Lewis?
32.
Yeah, he's got a race win ahead now.
Yeah.
Do you want to change your prediction, Ollie?
No.
Okay.
Lewis has done it from
I'm back it up.
43, I think, behind against Vettel.
Yeah, but in a better car though.
But
Whoa.
I think
That
the
Ferrari-
pressure
I know
might
the-
get to Max. I think pressure's going to get to Max.
Nah,
I
he's
don't
cool
know
as a
about that now,
cucumber,
yeah,
mate.
yeah. I'm just saying with the Ferrari one, Ferrari had the package that year to win, and they imploded.
Mm. And Mercedes kept working on the car, and I'm not convinced they will do this year. I think at some point they'll call it quits, won't they?
Yeah, hopefully we get a long enough battle though to actually have an interesting. I mean, I'm looking at the races coming up, and like there's still a load of good tracks left. So hopefully,
I hope so. I hope Mercedes bring an upgrade that brings them a lot closer, and we can go back to the first few races where it was so close.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what we want. I'm sick of this Red Bull dominance. It's getting.
Well, after like 7 years of Mercedes dominance, you can't handle like five races.
Handle five races. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Silly season time. Lewis has just announced a 2-year extension to his contract, which will take him to 2023. I mean, unless he's fighting for the title in both those seasons, I think that could probably be him done. I don't see him hanging on and being a Alonso or a Kimi Raikkonen.
Oh, what will it be in 2023? 38?
Something like that.
I think, what?
That's,
Yeah, he'll be in his mid to late 30s for sure.
I think he's 35 now.
I agree with you, Isaac. I can't see him staying longer than that extension. He's got nothing left to prove.
Yeah, at the end of the 2023 season, he'll be 38, about to turn 39.
Wow.
Wow, we were.
Which is longer than I thought he'd actually drive for anyway.
Yeah, that's way longer than I thought he'd stay for. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Same for me, to be honest.
When do you think he'll drop off? Like his at some point, his pace will start dropping, surely.
Next season with the new regs, you can just blame it on that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that is the only reason he's properly staying around. Like, otherwise, surely he'd pump everything into this season, get the 8th, and then leave if he wasn't at all intrigued what the new regs were going to do.
Do you think he's given up on this season?
No, not yet.
I don't know. His interviews, he's very quite downbeat, isn't he?
I don't know if that's just because he's going through a rough phase and he's forgotten what it's like to lose for 7 years. But
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. He had that against Rosberg as well, though, when Rosberg had a couple of good races in a row. So I don't know if he's given up. He's a racer at heart, and he'll still want to keep going and doing the best.
I don't
think he's given up.
want him to retire, but when he does, it'll be a sad day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But we don't know who will have that seat next season for his teammate.
George.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm 95% certain it's Mr. George. It's Mr. Saturday.
Here's what I was on about earlier. This is the reason why I think Valtteri has suddenly upped his game. I don't think he's upped his game at all. I think he now just knows he's out of that seat. I think he's been told that George is in, and they'll announce it. Maybe at Britain even. But because of that, he's now got no pressure. He's not fighting. He's just driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a few races ago, he looked like very much under pressure and stressed, didn't he?
And it was literally like an overnight switch, race to race. It's not like he's slowly come back to form. Suddenly he was. Is he going to make P5 to? Right, he's in now, back for the podium, and it was a strategy that cost him that first race. I wonder if that's what's gone on.
Yeah, I think if they don't announce George at Britain, they'll announce it during the summer break.
Yeah.
So it's when they normally announce contracts and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
Valtteri said he wanted it done before summer.
I guess he deserves a chance to find another seat, doesn't he? I think with Lewis getting a 2-year extension and his age and us knowing that it's the end of his career, I think it's the obvious logical solution is to bring in George. He's young,
Yeah.
he's fast, but he could do with a bit of experience, learn from Lewis, and then they can groom him to be the next, next world champion for them. Whereas I think they know that Bottas isn't going to be able to beat Max Verstappen, so
Yeah.
they need someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Particularly with the way that the wording was done on Lewis's announcement as well.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Wow, what was the wording on it?
They want consistency in their lineup.
Right, okay. Hamilton's contract runs out in 2023, and that's when Verstappen's Red Bull contract runs out as well. So do you reckon when Hamilton leaves, they'll put Max in that Mercedes along with George?
We need to see how the cars are performing under the new regs before any of that kind of chat comes, because there's no point in him switching unless they're definitely the best car, is there?
Yeah. Zach Brown does think that Verstappen to Mercedes is on, though. That would be. I mean, if that happens, just hand Zach Brown like the Crystal Ball Award, because take Eddie Jordan's crown, because I think we all were like, that's not going to happen.
I don't think Lewis will allow Max to be his teammate, to be honest.
Oh, never. Not in a million years.
No, not in a million. It would be, as much as we'd love to see it as fans, but it's never going to happen.
No.
Well, let's stay with Red Bull. Max has got the contract to 2023. I do think it's going to matter about where the cars are after the reg change, as to what happens after that. But right now, at least, I can't see him being anywhere other than Red Bull. Sergio Perez doesn't have a contract for next season.
Yeah, they'll keep him in the Red Bull.
Surely, yeah. Like, this has been a phenomenal improvement. It was one of those things at the start of the season, we were like, if Checo doesn't perform in that car, it's the car issue. He took a few races to get used to it, but has now had a race win and is consistently up there being the wingman. Are we now saying that Alex Albon, Gasly and Kvyat just are bad drivers?
No, Max is still destroying Perez just by less than he was destroying those guys.
Yeah, but I mean, at least he's in with that teammate, the wingman stance. The others weren't.
Yeah,
exactly.
But also, all three of them were very young in the car when they were driving it. Does experience matter at this point?
Yeah, maybe he's able to drive a car that is difficult to drive with that experience that he's got.
Plus, obviously, Perez has got a few podiums, obviously, and a race win. In the what race were we on? 6, 7, 8? I don't know what round we're on.
8 or 9, something like that.
Yeah, he's got a race win. He's got a few podiums, but obviously when Gasly and Kvyat and Albon were in there, they weren't doing what Perez is doing in the first 8-10 races of their Red Bull career. So I think it's just experience more than all. Because obviously he's been in F1 for over 10 years, I think, something like that. Checo.
Yeah.
And he's obviously driven various different cars and stuff like that. And I think it just comes down to experience.
I'd like to see him
too early.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'd like to see him improve his quali pace. I think that's the area that he's is weaker in. He's got really good race pace, and his tire management is amazing. But I feel like sometimes he's like Max is on pole, and then it's the Mercedes, and then him. I feel like if he can disrupt that a bit, that'd be better.
Would you like to see Gasly have another go in the Red Bull, given his proficiency in the AlphaTauri?
Gasly to McLaren to replace Ricciardo?
Wow.
Ooh.
As tasty as that would be, moving on to
McLaren. Ricciardo going the other way, Matt, or just replacing him in general?
Well, I don't know.
Ricciardo's
I don't know where.
Not going back into that Red Bull system.
No.
Nah.
But on McLaren, both drivers have contracts to 2023.
Yeah.
That Daniel Long contract suddenly doesn't look as inviting as it did at the start of the year. But having
No.
said that, he does now, like we were saying earlier, he does now have that race pace in the car.
It'd be interesting to compare though his race pace to Lando. Obviously, we didn't have a chance straight after the race.
Yeah.
It was good, but was it as good as Lando? Probably not.
Probably not. But also they had completely different races. Because obviously Lando can qualify on the Saturday, and if Daniel does get the Saturday pace as well, then that'd be very interesting to see. I still think it's Lando's team and will be for a while. I don't see Lando's contract being pulled, but Daniel's is not as secure as I would like it to be.
Do you think if McLaren hadn't signed Lando a few weeks ago, that Mercedes would potentially be interested in him rather than Russell?
No.
No, I think they'd still go with Russell.
Yeah, that McLaren team is definitely Lando's team. Russell feels he's always been a sub Mercedes driver, rather than trying to make Williams his team. It feels like he was just paying his time, doing his paying his dues, and then ready to move up.
Just renting a room there, yeah.
Yeah, it always felt like George is next in line. And I guess if he was on their radar, would McLaren have done the swap and had Lando in the Mercedes and had someone else come in for McLaren? I don't know, maybe, but I feel like that was their chance to show it if they were interested in Lando. It would be nice to see.
Yeah, what, Lando in the Merc?
Yeah.
Along with Lewis?
I just think it's McLaren and Lando are just together. That's just a perfect combination.
It's like Lewis and Mercedes, isn't it? That's his team. They're going to get rid of anyone, like you said. It's going to be the second driver, not Lando. I would like to see George and Lando together though in the Mercedes. But I don't know whether that'll happen.
Yeah, maybe in a few years, that's a possibility.
Yeah, it feels like Mercedes sort of only have half of a battle to deal with short term. Is it Valtteri? Is it George? Really, they're the only two major options. It's what happens after Lewis retires that's really the big conundrum. Who's the second driver? If George gets the place and he's had 2 years there, who do you bring in as second driver? I don't know. Russell Verstappen doesn't sound right to me.
No.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the next couple of years go. I think Lando could be in contention if he keeps driving the way he is.
Yeah. Ferrari. Charles Leclerc is on was it a 5-year contract that he signed? It was the longest Ferrari contract given, till 2024. He's not going anywhere. He's Ferrari, I think, for probably most of his career.
Yeah, I was going to say Drake will stay there for most of his career.
Yeah. It's Carlos Sainz that I don't know about.
The thing that he's getting replaced in 2023 with Schumacher.
Yeah, his contract runs out at the end of 2022.
No. If Carlos Sainz is driving how he is now, they're not going to put Mick in there.
Yeah, I don't think you could replace Sainz with Mick Schumacher at the minute.
I don't think Mick's going to be good enough to be in a top team, to be honest with you.
I think I've seen enough from him.
But obviously he's in the slowest car on the grid, isn't he? So.
Well, even from that, you can tell his attitude's not been fantastic the last few weeks. Whether that's because he thinks he's got it, confirmed, nailed, 100% going to win over Mazepin. He's not. When he first came in, the first few races were really good for Haas. But since then he's sort of switched off a little bit, and I don't know. From what I've seen interview-wise, it feels like he's a bit like Tsunoda. He's just not quite mature enough. Maybe in a couple of years, when we're talking about does Sainz stay or not, it might be a different story.
And let's not kid ourselves. He's in that seat because of his surname, not on merit. And obviously he is good, but is he good enough to compete with Charles Leclerc? I'll be surprised.
Yeah, it is. He's not a slow driver, but there is that sort of 10% nepotism in there. Let's come back to that one.
I'd put Schumacher in like an Alpha. See how he gets on in the Alpha. Like just a slightly quicker car.
Yeah, him against Giovinazzi would be good, actually, wouldn't it?
Being able to actually overtake people.
Let's segue to the Alfa Romeo, the other Ferrari team in the equation. Both of their drivers have contract expiries at the end of this year. There's also a little guy called Callum Ilott knocking on the door as to whether he might get a seat. I don't see Haas giving Schumacher away this season.
No.
Especially given that they've just written off this car and are going for next season. They're going to want Schumacher there. I don't know if I see Raikkonen there.
No, he's made lots of mistakes. Today's not the first time he's made a mistake like that this season. He's so old. The bloke just needs to retire, man.
Yeah. I think he will after this season.
I've said that for like the last 3 or 4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's his time. Giovinazzi, I think now has probably earned a few more years at Alfa Romeo. I don't think he's done anything particularly special to move him up the grid, given that we constantly forget about where he's finishing every week.
Yeah.
But for what Alfa Romeo need at the minute is to finish above Williams and Haas, and that is what he's doing. And when points do come on offer, very often he does take the chance and gets them, albeit they're only 1 or 2 points a time.
Yeah. And now that he's kind of beating Kimi Räikkönen, they can stick in a rookie driver and he can be a good comparison. So they don't necessarily need Kimi there for that comparison anymore.
Yeah, and he's had experience. Just he's been around for a few years now, actually.
How many years has Giovinazzi been racing in Formula 1?
I think this is his 3rd season. I think he came in with Lando.
Did he start with? Yeah, I was gonna say he's coming with Lando and George.
I think so.
So he'll be settled in that team, and I think it'd be a good opportunity if they do bring someone like Ilott in. It'd be a good opportunity to actually see where he is. I mean, at the minute we're talking about Raikkonen at 43 or whatever he is, 44. He's not prime. He's making a lot of mistakes. But I don't know. I can't call it. It's Raikkonen. He could drive till he's 50.
Yeah, he probably could. Whether he will or not, it's a different story.
Yeah. Well, while we're at the back of the grid, let's talk about Haas. I don't think Schumacher's going anywhere. Nikita's definitely not going anywhere with his dad's money being pumped into the company. I actually don't know where their contracts lie in terms of multi-year deals and not. We know is that there are multi-year deals. I haven't got a 3, 4, 5 year sort of thing. I don't know whether Haas will be Haas for much longer.
I don't think they'll be Haas next year.
No, Team Soviet coming in.
I mean, Team Eurocali feels very awkward to say.
They've already painted the car in Russian colours. They might as well just rename the team at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, if we probably won't see much of them next year because they'll be at the back again. Well, they might not be, but
I mean, who knows? Like when Haas first came in, they were 5th, 6th in Australia, and actually were a proper midfield team.
Yeah.
Let's hope, for the sake of the people working there at least, that actually they can have a decent car next season, new regs, a new chance, and they're not wasting money developing this year's car. I think the
Yeah.
only people who come out of that badly are Netflix.
You got to imagine that they'll move a few places forward if they put all their eggs into next year's car. That'd be so disappointing if they don't.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I think Williams will move up as well.
I mean, they've already moved up a little bit this year, haven't they? So.
Yeah. I think Haas could be Haas next season, but if it's a bad season, I think Gene Haas is going to leave. I don't think at that point it'll be a money thing. I think he'll be looking to get out for the sake of his sanity and pride and reputation.
Yeah, do you think he'll give next year's regs a go? And if that doesn't work, I agree.
I think they're on the fine line performance-wise. Gene Haas is known for being a winner, and when he doesn't win, he's not going to take part. They're not winning.
Yeah, to be fair, some of his big lorries and diggers could probably do a bit faster than their current F1 car. So
literal tractor for Haas.
Yeah.
Just use the vans they use to transport the cars, and they'll do a better job.
Yeah. Sticking with the back of the grid, the Williams. We've already sort of covered George Russell. We don't think he's going to be at Williams next season. Contract expires this year, as does Nicholas Latifi's contract. Now, this is awkward because he does bring in a lot of sponsorships, but the Williams family have left. They've got new owners who are saying that they're going to pump money in. They've made the step forward, and while I think Latifi's money is probably a good benefit, he is not getting anywhere near the results that they want, considering what George is getting out of the car at least.
But if George goes, he's obviously a marker that they can compare a new driver to. Whereas if they replace both drivers, do they really know how good the car is?
Yes, that's the other thing. But I'm going to say this. I think Latifi's going to get a 1-year deal, and if he doesn't perform next season, he could be gone if they can find a good enough money driver to come in.
Who'd you put in that seat?
In Latifi's or Russell's?
Russell's.
I'd put Jack Aitken in, but that's because I'm a massive Aitken fanboy.
What about Latifi's?
Hold on. I mean, we've not discussed where Bottas is going to go.
Yeah, I feel like Bottas could definitely take one of those Williams seats.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a good move for Williams having him back. He knows that most of that team, I guess. Obviously, there's been a few shuffle rounds since he's left, but he's got experience. He knows what the Mercedes can do, sort of. But I also can only ever see Bottas now driving in like IndyCar. I don't think from Bottas's side of the point he's going to want to go from the fastest to the very back.
But then I feel like I'm always surprised when drivers take a step back, but they just love F1, don't they? They love the driving at the circuits, lifestyle, everything else. So maybe he'll stay.
Maybe, but we all have seen a lot of F1 drivers now going over to IndyCar.
But that's when they've like completely lost their seat without any offers, isn't it?
Yeah. It will be interesting to see where he goes if he does lose his Mercedes seat. If Williams get him, that's a massive catch.
If he was like a development driver.
He's too good to not have a seat. Like he's not as good as Lewis, but he's a solid driver. I think he would do well in most teams.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a test driver and only a test driver. He's probably going to sign for like a fairly major organisation elsewhere if he's not driving in F1.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting though to see Bottas back there.
So do you see him going to rally or still open wheels? So like I don't know if he's dabbled in rallying before. I think he has. I'm not sure.
I don't see that.
It's a difficult crossover, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Kimi's tried it. Kubica's done some rally driving before as well. So it's not unheard of, but like those top guys, that rally championship over the last few years has been like you need to know your stuff now. It's not like you can just jump in and out. I would be surprised if he goes to rally.
Nah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Right. Let's
What
jump.
about?
Oh
Have we covered teams? I think we have.
no, we've not covered all the teams. We've got a few left. We're going to jump to the Astons. Haas were the team that we didn't know anything about. Aston Martin are the other team we don't really know anything about, other than that Sebastian's got a multi-year deal and Lance Stroll is the owner's son.
Yeah,
So,
that's going to stay, isn't it? And they're both
yeah,
doing a fairly good job. So
that's the thing.
why not?
Actually, this season Lance is actually showing what he's like made of, and he's actually driving really well.
Yeah.
In the previous sort of formula, he showed he was fast, but then apart from like a few fluky runs with when he was at the Williams, like in Baku, he didn't really show the pace that he had. I don't think for the first few years of being in Formula One, and obviously then when he gets to move to Racing Point, it's his dad's team, and everyone just ignored him, wrote him off as a dad's driver. But now he's sort of, I think, settled down and ignored the haters, and he's just driving well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, Lance is never going to be world champion unless they do something crazy with that car, put rocket fuel in it or something. But I think he's proven himself as a solid, he's a good overtaker, on opening laps, he does very well. He's a good qualifier, he's got decent pace. And I think he's improved. I think his biggest weakness was, his inconsistency. And I think he is becoming more consistent, becoming a more rounded driver. So I can see him having a fairly long F1 career and doing okay. Why not?
So I think the two are linked with Lance Stroll's like inconsistency. I think was about him being able to see quite a lot of moves, but just not knowing which ones were the correct ones to go for. And now he's a much more rounded package, and he understands the racecraft better. And you can see particularly on opening laps, like where he places the car now versus where he did 3-4 years ago. It's completely different, and I feel like it's nice to see him actually driving on merit now, rather than just being a dad's driver.
Yeah, I think the talk of him being a pay driver has really died down now, hasn't it?
Vettel's the interesting one in that team. We know it's a multi-year deal. He said he wants to go there because it's an interesting project, and I think at the time there was quite a lot of talk about them being up at the top this year. I don't know whether it was like small technical changes that have actually screwed them over, or if they just got that wrong.
Yeah, I think the rake things obviously upset the balance of their car, but
I still don't see, like last year they were surprise fighting for P3. I still don't see, even with the rake thing not being an issue, that I can't see them constantly beating McLaren.
No, McLaren have jumped forward and Red Bull have jumped to the top.
Bull,
so
absolutely.
They should copy Red Bull's car next time rather than Mercedes, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what's going to happen with these regs. Like on the game, every time there's like a major reg change, and you like see the guys at the bottom just shoot to the top. That would blow my mind if Mercedes and Red Bull are at the back next year. It's not going to happen, but
yeah,
it would be phenomenal.
It would be quality
to see a Haas, Williams, Alfa Romeo top 3. Not going to happen, but
yeah, it's not.
AlphaTauri, both their drivers out of contract this season. Pierre, I'm unsure about what's going to happen. I think if he wants to stay at AlphaTauri, they'll definitely give him a couple of years extra now. He's shown he can drive that car really well.
He needs an opening, doesn't he? At a bigger team.
Yeah, something else to come up, and he needs to take it with both hands.
Yeah.
He's proved himself as a really good driver. There's just not an opening for him anywhere at the moment.
Yeah, and he's not going back to Red Bull.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I don't think he'd want to.
I mean, even if he wants to, I just don't see that being a good move. But
I
would no. Tsunoda.
Give him a bit more time, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd give him another year and then see where we're at.
Yeah, but having said that, if he continues the way he's going, we know how brutal Red Bull are with
Oh,
their
yeah.
young drivers.
But they did say they were trying to learn from the whole Albon thing, didn't they?
I don't know how much I believe that.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's a PR thing.
Yeah.
That feels very much like Lewis's tyres going off or Mercedes not having the fastest car. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. I think if they get rid of Sonoda, they might bring the Albon back in.
But maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. If Gasly stays, I would be very intrigued to see how that Albon Gasly situation would work. I don't know. That feels very much like #team reject at that point.
Yeah, I don't think there's any point because neither of them would ever go to Red Bull,
Yeah.
and the whole point of AlphaTauri is that they're preparing, the future of Red Bull.
Yeah.
Which is why Danny Kvyat coming back was strange and why he didn't last.
Yeah. I also think that the Yuki Honda link has been beneficial, but with Honda now leaving, does that play any sort of role going forward? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair shout, to be fair.
I forgot Honda were leaving.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be Red Bull engines next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange. Yeah, I think unless something happens, Gasly's not going anywhere. I think he should take another year at AlphaTauri for sure if nothing comes up, because surely at the end of 2022 something will. Tsunoda sort of depends on how his years go, but yeah, it doesn't make sense to cut him to replace him with another driver that's going to do potentially just as the same thing and have this situation continue year on year on year. There needs to be a bit of stability somewhere.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah. So, where does Gasly's opening come from? Does it come from Alonso at Alpine? Contract expires 2022, but there are rumours that he's pushing for a new 2 or 3 year deal to match Ocon.
I bet they wish they hadn't signed Ocon now. He's had a terrible
not.
couple of races.
Yeah.
I feel like Gasly would be better in that car, in my opinion, but that's the way they've gone, so...
Yeah, I don't see... I mean... I didn't see Esteban re-signing this early for that long.
No, I didn't.
Maybe like a 1 year extension. I didn't see 3 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, always we can say it's like, the first few races looks like they've made a mistake, but it's unlikely that the announcement of that has made such a big difference. Maybe it has. Maybe he knows now that he's safe. But it's Formula 1. There's no such thing as a secure contract. Do you think Fernando should stay around past 2022?
Only if he can keep driving the way that he is now, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'll want to stay in a uncompetitive car. So if the regs change and Alpine are near the back, I don't think he'll be that fussed about signing an extension. But if they're competitive, they'll probably really want to, won't he? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I think if they're up there, then yeah, he'll stay. But if not, then no, he'll go.
And if he does go, Gasly, does that look like a good choice?
Yeah, French team, French driver, why not?
Yeah, but Gasly and Ocon don't get on with each other, do they? I don't think they like each other.
Teammates don't need to get on, that's fine.
I mean, there have been plenty of times where teammates don't get on, and they've gone on to be like fantastic world champion teams.
Yeah, that's true. If not Gasly, then I'd put Guan Yu Zhou in there.
Yeah, Guan Yu Zhou looks so overlooked by the Renault Academy. I don't understand why that was ever a thing, because I don't know anyone actually properly came through it. They all just kept pinching drivers from other teams. At least didn't he get an FP1 opportunity? Was it this week or last week?
I think he was this week, but I'm not sure.
In Alonso's car, there's a picture of Guan Yu Zhou and Alonso when he was a kid, like 11, 12 years ago, something like that. It's really weird to see all these drivers. I feel old.
I saw one of Verstappen and Schumacher when Verstappen was really young,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh wow.
yeah, it's very strange. I'm trying to very quickly think if there's any other F2 drivers that might come through in the next couple of years. I can't think of any, other than the ones we already mentioned. And even if there were, it doesn't look like there's that much of an opening. Once this Mercedes thing's wrapped up, I think all the other seats are going to fall into place pretty quickly. And
Oh, there's always surprises. Some things, Rosberg retiring. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe not this year, but next year.
Rosberg retired so fast, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, what a move that was.
Like, yeah,
Such a
made it
power
through
move. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, also was expected. Apparently, that was always going to be the plan. So, it might have shocked us. I don't think it should have shocked Toto as much as it potentially did. Maybe the surprise was that Lewis didn't catch him up and win the title.
Maybe it's Maybelline. Who knows?
Right. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to discuss Austria and the silly season with you guys. I was going to go for the outro and then I forgot what the outro was.
Likewise, mate. Thanks for having me on again. Really enjoyed it.
Well, we'll definitely get you back towards the end of the season, and when you can rub in our faces that Max is world champion.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to leave a like and a comment down below on the video, and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when the next episode goes out. And if you're listening on one of the podcast providers like Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow us on there so you know when the next episode's released. And like our social medias at IO Sportscast on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. I don't think I've forgotten one this time. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for being here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.